Chapter 5 of the Epistle of James brings the letter to a close with a final, impassioned call to justice, patience, and prayer. It opens with a stark warning to the wealthy who have gained their riches through exploitation and selfish indulgence. James does not condemn wealth in itself, but exposes the corrupt and heartless use of it. Wages withheld, lives oppressed, and luxuries hoarded at the expense of others. He speaks as a prophet would, declaring that the cries of the laborers have reached the ears of God. The riches these individuals trusted in are now rotting, testifying against them in the last days. It is a sobering reminder that wealth without righteousness leads not to security, but to judgment. From this rebuke, James turns to the suffering faithful, urging them to be patient and steadfast. He draws on the image of the farmer who waits for the precious harvest, knowing that fruit takes time to ripen. In the same way, believers are called to endure trials without grumbling, trusting that the Lord's coming is near. Patience, in this context, is not passive resignation but an active, hope-filled perseverance rooted in the belief that justice and restoration will come. James holds up the prophets as examples of this endurance, those who spoke truth despite persecution, and Job, whose story of suffering and ultimate restoration reveals God's compassion and mercy. These references are meant to steady the hearts of those who suffer, reminding them that they are part of a long, faithful tradition of those who waited on God through hardship. He then warns against the careless use of speech, particularly in the form of oaths. Instead of swearing by anything to prove one's sincerity, James insists that truth should be woven into everyday language. Yes should mean yes, and no should mean no. Integrity, in this view, is not occasional but constant. The chapter then turns to the power of prayer. Whether in suffering or joy, prayer is the appropriate response. James encourages the sick to call on the elders of the church for prayer and anointing, emphasizing that prayer offered in faith has the power to heal, not just physically, but spiritually. Confession, too, is presented as part of this healing process, where honesty before one another opens the way for restoration. James closes with a final call to communal responsibility. If someone strays from the truth, it is a sacred act to help bring them back. Restoring a fellow believer is not only an act of love, but one that carries eternal significance, as it rescues a soul from death and covers a multitude of sins. In this final chapter, James gathers the threads of his letter, justice, humility, patience, speech, and action, into a final charge. His tone is urgent yet pastoral, grounded in the belief that faith is not a private idea, but a public, embodied way of life.